Before we get into anything else today, Fabrizio Romano just dropped something on Manchester United about a few hours ago. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to hear this, because this update changes the entire midfield conversation around this club. And there's a lot more behind it than just a name in a headline. We've got Edison's documents literally prepared. We've got Lewis Hall talk still active. We've got a Rashford situation that nobody saw coming. And right in the middle of all of it, a brand new name that Romano and David Ornstein have both just confirmed is firmly on United's radar. This is Red's view, and today's update is a big one. Let's start immediately with the breaking news. Andrey Santos, Chelsea, Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano posted on X just hours ago, and I'm going to give you his exact words here because they matter. He said, Manchester United made inquiry to be informed on Andrey Santos' situation for midfield. Initial talks on player side, but no approach or bid to Chelsea yet. Chelsea consider Andrey not untouchable if a good proposal arrives. That is Romano. That is today. That is as fresh as it gets. And David Ornstein at The Athletic confirmed it separately. He posted, Manchester United exploring deal to sign Andrey Santos from Chelsea. When Romano and Ornstein are saying the same thing on the same day, that is not speculation. That is a real story. So what does it actually mean right now? United have made an inquiry to understand the situation. Player side talks have already opened. Chelsea have not been approached club to club yet. But here is the line that really caught my attention. Chelsea consider Santos not untouchable if the right offer arrives. That is Chelsea essentially saying, make us an offer. And that offer, according to reports, starts at £50 million. Now here is the context you need to understand why this is happening right now. Matheus Fernandes, who United were heavily chasing, is gone. He signed for Tottenham in an £85 million club record deal. That door has closed, and United still need at least one more midfielder after Edison. So they've had to pivot, they've had to find a new direction quickly. And the direction they've chosen is a 22-year-old Brazilian who spent last season making 43 appearances for Chelsea. Santos finds himself behind Moises Caicedo in Chelsea's pecking order. Xabi Alonso has arrived at Stamford Bridge and Chelsea need to sell to fund their own rebuild. Santos is one of those players they're open to moving on. The timing is almost perfect from United's perspective. And he's not just a name to fill a gap. Those who've watched him closely will tell you this is a player with serious ceiling. Powerful, technically sharp, capable of playing the kind of pressing, high-energy midfield role that Carrick demands. He is 22, he is Brazilian, and he has already been tested in the Premier League at the highest level. Now no bid has gone in yet. United are still in the inquiry phase. But when Romano confirms initial talks on the player side, that means Santos himself is already aware of United's interest. He's already processing the possibility. That is how deals gather momentum before they go public. This one to watch extremely closely over the next 48 to 72 hours. Now let's move to the deal that is basically done, because there's a fresh update on Edison that people are sleeping on. Caught Offside are reporting this morning that documents are prepared for Edison's move from Atalanta to Manchester United. The second part of his medical is still needed, but that is a formality. The deal is agreed. The structure is confirmed. £35 million up front, £3.8 million in add-ons, 4 years plus an option of a fifth. Edison is coming to Old Trafford. The only thing standing between him and an official announcement is Brazil's World Cup campaign coming to an end. They drew 1-1 with Morocco on Saturday night. When they exit, and the clock on that is ticking, this announcement drops. United have done this signing cleanly. Good fee, good contract, the right profile, and they've moved on to the next problem without making noise. That is exactly how a club operating with genuine intent behaves. Now let's talk about Lewis Hall, because despite everything else happening in this window, this pursuit is very much still alive and actually developing in a fascinating direction. Ben Jacobs confirmed as recently as Friday that Hall remains a firm target for Manchester United. And this matters because Newcastle boss Eddie Howe is now apparently set to sit down with Hall and have a direct conversation about his plans for the future. That conversation is significant because if Hall tells Howe he wants to leave, and everything we've heard suggests that is exactly where his head is, Newcastle's position becomes very difficult to maintain. Hall was played out of position under Howe this season. He missed Thomas Tuchel's England World Cup squad as a result. Gary Lineker publicly called him the best left-back in the country, who wasn't picked. And according to reports, Hall is frustrated. He's frustrated about the position situation, frustrated about the England snub, and according to sources, he views a move to Old Trafford as a significant step up in his career. He wants Champions League football with a club that will actually use him correctly. And Fabrizio Romano, I want to go back to what he said a few days ago because it's still the most relevant framing we have on this one. He said on his YouTube channel, Manchester United kept the contacts alive and active with those close to Lewis Hall. They really love Lewis Hall at Manchester United. Really love. Not interested, not monitoring, love. The obstacle is Newcastle. They don't want to sell. They're talking about offering him a new contract. Their stated position is that he's untouchable. But we've heard that before. We heard it about Anthony Gordon. We heard it about Sandro Tonali. Both of them have left St James's Park this summer. Newcastle missed out on European football next season. Players want to leave, and if Hall makes his position clear in that conversation with Howe, United have a real chance here. The valuation sits around £60 million, and Chelsea are reportedly also circling with a potential approach. This one is not done, but the foundations are there, and United are not walking away. Now let's address Marcus Rashford, because this story has taken a turn that genuinely nobody saw coming. Fabrizio Romano this week revealed that Rashford is now showing positive messages to Manchester United about the possibility of staying at the club. Let me just let that land for a second. For months, we were all talking about how Rashford's time at Old Trafford was over, how Barcelona would make it permanent, how the clean break was coming. And now Romano is telling us that there has been direct contact between Rashford's camp and Manchester United, and the player is signalling he could stay. Here is what has changed. Barcelona did not trigger their £26 million buy option. It expired on June 15th and they let it go. They've since been open to another loan. But United will not accept a loan. They want a permanent deal or nothing. And with Anthony Gordon already signed at Camp Nou, Barcelona's urgency to bring Rashford back has reduced significantly. Rafinha reportedly has Saudi interest. And if he leaves, the door reopens for Rashford at Barcelona permanently. But that is a lot of conditions that all have to fall the right way, and it's no longer guaranteed to happen. So where does that leave United? According to Romano, Rashford is back in contact with the club. He's returned to United after the loan ended. Carrick is open to welcoming him back for pre-season, and conversations about his future are happening internally. Now, Bayern Munich are still tracking the situation. Several Premier League clubs are still watching, but the most up-to-date picture from Romano himself is that a Rashford return to the first-team picture under Carrick is not completely off the table. Whether that is a permanent resolution or just a temporary holding position while the market develops, nobody knows yet. But the story has shifted, and it's worth watching. Let me also just briefly flag another name that has been mentioned in the last 24 hours, because it shows how wide United's net is being cast right now. Alex Scott from Bournemouth, Carlos Baleba from Brighton, and a new one, Johan Manzambi from Freiburg, who has caught the eye at the World Cup and is now reportedly being monitored by United. Ben Jacobs has been clear on the midfield hierarchy. Baleba is a player who has had loose personal terms in place from last summer and essentially just needs United to approach Brighton. Above Baleba is Tchouaméni from Real Madrid, and Alex Scott, if he becomes genuinely available, is high on the list too. This is a club with multiple live conversations running simultaneously, and the Santos inquiry today tells you they're being proactive rather than reactive. So let me give you the complete picture of where Manchester United's summer actually stands right now, as of today, July 5th. Edison is agreed at £39 million, documents are prepared, announcement is imminent. Andrey Santos has been inquired about, player-side talks are open, and Chelsea are open to selling at £50 million. Lewis Hall remains firmly targeted. Romano says, United love him. Ben Jacobs says the pursuit is alive, the crunch Newcastle conversation is coming. Marcus Rashford has returned to United, is showing positive messages about staying, but Bayern and others are still watching. Matheus Fernandes is gone to Spurs. That battle was lost, but United drew a line at £85 million and moved on correctly. The midfield shortlist also includes Baleba, Tchouaméni, Scott, and Manzambi. That is not a quiet summer. That is a summer of genuine, structured, ambitious rebuilding. What Michael Carrick is doing at this club is clear. He knows the positions that need strengthening. He knows the type of player he wants, and he's being backed to go and find them. The Fernandes miss hurts. Nobody is going to pretend otherwise. But when a club bids at the right valuation and the player chooses elsewhere for more money, you don't panic. You move to the next name on the list, and United are doing exactly that. Santos could be a serious piece of this midfield puzzle. Hall could solve the left-back problem for the next 5 years, and Edison gives the engine room exactly the kind of disciplined base it needs. Champions League football is returning to Old Trafford. The squad that will compete in it is being shaped right now. And today, right now, that shaping is happening faster than it has in a very long time at this football club. Stay locked into this channel, because when Santos moves to a formal bid, when Newcastle blink on Hall, when Edison lands, we will have it here first with the full breakdown. If you found this video useful, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second, and it genuinely helps us reach more United fans who need to see this content. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are covering this window every single day. Every name, every update, every twist. You'll get it here before anywhere else. And drop a comment below. I want to know what you think. Is Andrey Santos the right call after missing out on Fernandes? Would you take him at £50 million? Let me know. This is Red's View. See you in the next one.